Hello. I am going to tell this story to you, to Mike, today. If anybody knows any of the stories that I've told, places I've been, or little bits about my life, and you want to hear about it, and it has something to do with the slide era, then let me know. Because it's going to be a lot easier for me to talk to that particular person. Because I'm feeling like these are too long, and this particular person has said slow down. So today I'm going to chill and talk about the story without a clock because for the most part I traveled without a clock. Slideshow time, Mike. All right, dude. So wait, I got to turn the light off. Make it so you can see them. Going solo. This is more difficult without my assistant, Faye. Okay, why will you not let me zoom? Thank you. Man. I wonder if I could make them all darker. That's ugly. Slide. Woo! Found a new button, and I just want my slides to show up better. I obviously don't know what most of these words mean because I don't ever edit my like noir. I think would be dark, but it wasn't. We're just gonna have to go back to normal and hope you can see that well enough. This is the square in Havana. It's a really gorgeous place. Cuba, I don't know, it's this very strange, surreal place. Everybody, all these outdoor seatings, but there aren't like gobs of nasty pigeons like there are in Italy. There's not so many people there. It was this sense of timelessness. Like not just that these amazing buildings were around you, but that nobody was rushing around trying to get stuff done. It was really beautiful. Island time, I guess you could call it. Let's see. Oh, quite all the way. I liked just being there. It has a very Parisian sense like this where people are just hanging out like you're watching everybody go down the sidewalk. Let's see if I can get this on this side towards screen. That, do you know what it is? It's Hemingway's bar. When he was in Cuba and he would write, he went to this bar. It's a very cool bar still. It's like a, I don't know, artistic bar. It feels like you're just in a place that was very like old-fashioned New Orleans, or where else? I don't know. Not a lot of the world is like Cuba. Well, not a lot of the other world that I've been to. There's a lot I hadn't been to yet, so. There's another bar we went to, a little bit more modern. That's an upside down pool table, I think, upside down table. It was just beautiful. It was made out of some really cool wood and painted. All right. Oh, this one is gorgeous. You can see it. Can you see the car in the back left corner? Yeah. It was beautiful. This is just walking around. I don't know where we were going. Ani and I would just kind of take off. We met somebody. We met these guys and went, or maybe somebody told us about it. I don't know. She did more of the planning for this trip than I did, which was fantastic. But we ended up in this abandoned building that was just beautiful. I'm going to redo that one. I'm not sure why. They're not going all the way over today. Uh-oh. Don't tell me I have another slide projector that's not working. Close enough, I guess, huh? Anyway, you can see the building, all the trees growing inside of it. It's kind of interesting to think about this versus like the trash of all the FEMA crap that was left after Katrina. Of course, everybody lost their homes here too, and I don't know where they are, but interesting that what they left behind is far more beautiful. Okay. I'm having a harder time today talking and doing the slides. We went somewhere else. There's a famous portrait on the right on the building. I'm not sure what we were doing out there, and I don't really know how we met this brother and sister, but we did. They may have been in the building where we were. They born there, knew a lot about it, wanted to leave, wanted to stay. We kept in contact for a little while. Oh, that's where they live, but they don't live sideways in it. Okay, let's get to a decent slide here. This is a good one. And then I'll talk about this piece out of my journal. We were staying at the beach. We were further away from Havana, going the opposite direction of Havana, in some little small village there. Went into a small bar. I mean small, like 15 people bar. And this, okay. I also went on a bike ride. I thought that's where I was in my journal. There's one bar, men carrying sacks, probably hot plate lunches. They make kissing sounds. The favorite cat call, as best I can tell. Oops, I was still on the bike ride. Boy, this is bad. You can't put it on pause. Here we go. We enter an open air bar and Pilates, open 24 hours, get a few cervezas. The proprietor speaks not a word of English, takes me to a friend at the bar who translates in half Spanish, half English that the blacks are no good. Cuba, during Spanish rule, engaged heavily in slavery, but unlike the U.S. plantations, owners kept tribal groups together to take advantage of traditional rivalries. Part of the rivalries were carried out in music, so slaves got to beat their drums into the night, eventually merging with the Spanish guitar. Something. Giving Cuba its incredible musical richness of today. Once I figure out what's being said, I walk away, join Ani, who's been joined by two guys, one of whom is black. The company is far more amiable. We all do our best to communicate and drink Cuban rum until a policeman walks in, and asks the two guys outside, where another cop now waits. if something illegal is going on between Cubans and foreigners, you're in a Cuban-only taxi or in a private car, not allowed to receive money from rides. If you're discussing political issues, prostitution, always it is the Cuban who gets in trouble and may be taken to jail. We wait, assessing the situation, hoping we haven't done anything to get the guys in trouble. I know there were prices in US dollar on the sign, and in my case, and in any case, it'd be the owner at risk for selling without proper license. One of the guys returns to the table for his pack of cigarettes without speaking to us and rejoins the cops. All four stand in a huddle, talking rather casually. We figure the best thing we can do for them is leave, and as we pass the group of four, they break up. The two guys walk the other direction, and one cop stays while the other cop walks half a block behind us for 5 blocks, slowly catching up to us, chatting a bit in Spanish of where are we from, first time in Cuba, how long have you been here, and then walks on down the road. Okay. So, police state openly. This is another square that we went to that is really beautiful. All of it in its own way. There are lots of old cars. I have heard that that's not true anymore. When I was there, Cuba was full of all these beautiful old cars, and they kept them all really well restored. Some of them were broken down on the side of the road. They were out everywhere, but they were a lot looking fine and really beautiful cars. My famous New Orleans Jazz Fest hat in Cuba. Just an everyday traffic circle. They were not all pretty cars. Whoops. More cars. And their own form of little new cars. All right, what's up next? I think yes. So this is a bike trip. Ani stayed at the hotel. I rented a bike. The first one I rented got out of storage from the guys at the hotel where we were staying. It had something wrong with it. I can't remember. I think it didn't have pedals or a chain or something. So I went back. Obviously not a chain. But anyway, he pulled it out. I was like, that one's not going to do. He gave me one that we thought would work. And I made about 10 feet down the side of the road and came back and said, that one isn't working. So I took this other bike finally that was good enough. I went up the hill and over to the other side of the village that was really not where the tourist ever went because it didn't have any kind of connection to this hotel that we were staying. It was really cool to see things. It was kind of creepy and eerie to know that so many people used to live there and all these buildings are abandoned and like the population is so less than it ever was. All right. Oh, they didn't finish this part. According to state policy, there is no discrimination in Cuba, but practice, obviously, there is. Of course, And unfortunately, police are more likely to stop blacks for the traffic tickets. They harass black women in hotels as though they could only be prostitutes. On and on is the case, as in too many places around the world. At this bar, the comment seems unconnected to anything, so it took me a moment to understand the partial English, mostly Spanish bullshit. But I wanted to go back to the bike trip. There. People are out, they stare, I smile and say hello in an obvious non-Spanish accent, but few, if any, Cubans smile back. But often, just as I pass their group, one will say, with a slow, carefully weighted precision, "Good afternoon," or they'll say, "Happy New Year." I was there during the turn of the century, December to January. When I turn around and speak or wave, the one who's spoken is grinning ear to ear, having a great time applying a bit of English. One man rides a horse, sitting very comfortably in the saddle. Another guy is on a skinny pony, stuck, can't get it to move, and lost on how to operate the thing, yelling in Spanish until he spies me, and he sits dead still until I pass. There's one bar, men carrying out probably hot plate lunches. They make kissing sounds, the favorite cat call as best I can tell. I crest the hill, a huge valley lies in wait. My front brake doesn't work, the back one only just barely. So I drag my Chuck Taylors, alternating sides and front to keep my toes from getting holes burning into my toes, and cut up a road to the right when I get going to shoot the vista. When I get off the bike and push it toward the shoulder, the bare tire thumps. The wheel has bust a seam, the inner tube sticks out. Slowly it grows and grows like a dangerous tumor. I don't want it to burst. I'll have to hold the wheel up the whole way back. The air valve is sticking out. I quickly let out air to relieve the pressure and then look around. 5K from the hotel. Where I wanted to hike for the vista shot says, "Keep out, military zone," in English. I take a photo of the sign, mostly because I know I'm not supposed to photograph anything military, and because I've got some similar photos of military buildings and zones of China. I head back up the hill, photos of cool trees, and walk the bike away until a taxi van picks me up and gives me a free ride back to the hotel. There's one of the cool trees. I have photographs of trees. I know I've said this once, and I'm going to say it all the time. Excuse me. I have photographs of trees in every country I've ever been to. They are pretty darn amazing. I wish I knew the names of them. Some of them I do. Oh, that one's out of focus. Look at that creature. That one has really cool flowers all on the top of it. I went to Cuba over the turn of the century. We got down there December something and left January something. So the main thing that we were going to do was go see the Millennium turnover in Cuba. We went to that square where I show the pictures where this one started. Well, we went back New Year's Eve, and they had done it up right. It's hard to see because it's, see if it might change. It's not. Anyway, it was really beautiful. There were tens of thousands of people in this square at night. It was packed. They were all excited. They were all kind. They were all chill. There was no fear. There was no angst. It was just celebration. It was a really, really incredible event. Like, they know how to get a lot of people together in one place at a moment of beauty and enjoy it instead of breaking out in fights or stuff. So we were kind of in the back. We had no idea how crowded it was going to be. And I remember being able to look over their heads. This picture I took before the event started. And then during the event, I couldn't see. This looks so much smaller than what I remember. Maybe where we went to another place was bigger, but it felt huge and expansive, and we were looking out and there were just a sea of people, and we were all there and listening to this music being piped out through these crappy little speakers, but everybody could hear it, and it was glorious. It was a celebration. It wasn't about how fancy equipment you have. It was about celebrating. It was a fantastic way to bring in a new millennium. The next morning, we went out to this really cool art market. I like going to these places, but I guess maybe I'm a cynic, or I don't buy things. I'm not a purchaser and owner, so when I look at stuff, I don't generally think, oh, I want that. I just don't get attached to much and see very many things I like. But Cubans are very, very artistic. And they're good at it. So it was a really beautiful market. If you ever get to Cuba, I recommend it. I have no idea how much of this has changed. I often get at a place right at the right time. So this was some of the things in the market. And this is the piece that I came home with people out dancing, and they have some instruments down there. Oops, it won't go up. They're dancing on the sidewalk, and they have instruments, and they're just out having a really good time in Cuba. This beautiful setting. This one has made it through numerous purges, and it made it through the very latest purge for this latest round of my life. All right. Ciao, ciao, ciao.